Hey, good morning, Tony DeDante. Hey, today I wanted to talk to you about a podcast I listened to. In this podcast was Carl Armato, who is the CEO of Novant Health, based out of, I think it's Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'm very familiar with the health system, having lived in Charlotte when I was working in the Mattel Hot Wheels NASCAR world. And I listened to a podcast that was put on by Renee Da Silva and named, I think it's called The Academy Table. And Carl talked about diversity, equity, and inclusion. But he talked about it from my perspective, the white ally. So he talked about how we led this journey of transformation at Novant, which was very exciting. And he talked about some of his own learnings and challenges and what it takes to get there. I would recommend you listening to that, especially if you're a white ally or wannabe, or are trying to figure out what you need to do in order to be able to play a bigger role in this social issue. Hey, here's what I'm here to tell you. The old traditional way of DEI in companies that we grew up with, programmatic as it is, just does not work. The old theorem of prove the business case just does not work. Here's what works. And it must be working at Novant because they seem to be clicking on all cylinders. And I'm gonna inquire about this after I'm done with this video. But here's what works. Number one, you need to begin starting to think about DEI from a systems perspective, from a design perspective, right? So what does that mean? Well, that means that all these interdependencies are going on. Everything is interconnected. You can't fix one area and not think it doesn't hit another area. And when you start thinking that way, that changes the outcome dramatically. But first, we need to immerse ourselves in depth in understanding the feelings and needs of the people out there. So we can do it 3 ways. Descriptive analysis for data, prescriptive analysis for data, and predictive analysis for data. The commonality of the 3 is it's data. It's real. It's exactly how we're running companies today, digging deep for data that validates insights. So my advice as a white ally who has been successful in this particular part of the HR world is that you have to be willing to rethink how you think. You have to challenge your own assumptions, your own thinking, your own biases, your own habits. Yeah, you need to do that. And by the way, it's not a one-sided coin. We want to get to the point where we can have a debate about DEI. So we're all learning. It becomes learning. It's a journey. It's not an endpoint. And the only way to get to that word debate, where it becomes fruitful and impactful, is to be willing to dig into ourselves first. Then second, we need to go and learn, like Carl talks about in this podcast. And third, we need to go and dig deep for data and use that data to share with all people. And fourth, but probably one of the most important things, we have to create psychologically safe spaces in our organizations as leaders so that we can have honest, collective, inclusive, public discussions about critical things so that silent killers and undiscussables don't get the edge on us, that they don't strangle our strategy execution prowess. If you do DEI right, it becomes part of the business. It produces results in and of itself. So I'm going to leave you with that. Challenge your own assumptions. The very things you think you're really right at, fight hard for those things. But listen 100 times harder for those areas where you may be wrong or uninformed. Hey, this is Tony DeDante. A Friday little tidbit of what I call agile leadership in the DEI space. Thank you.